Good morning. We're gonna make some cheese today. The first thing we do is get our water bath going. So I will fill this up just about halfway and then put it on the stove and start it warming up. Okay, so we get that on the stove and then we turn this to about medium. So we want this to warm up to about 98 degrees. Okay, so I've got about two and a half gallons, possibly 3 in here. I forget. I measured it once, now I don't remember. But we will go ahead and put this into the water bath. And then we'll let it, so the milk needs to get to about 88 degrees, so we will just go ahead and let it do its thing and keep an eye on it. Okay, so now that we have the milk at 88 degrees, I'm going to put in my starter. And this is just a mesophilic starter that is normally used for cheddar, which is, I'm making cheese curds, which is basically just cheddar cheese, but you leave it in the curd form. So we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes, and then that way it will rehydrate. I have the freeze-dried version. And once it rehydrates after those 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and gently stir it in. Okay, so we're just going to very gently stir in the culture. Check our temperature. Oh yeah, it's getting up there. That's higher than we want it. So we'll shut that off. And I'm going to take it out of the water bath and we're going to cover it and let it sit for 45 minutes. Okay, so while that is ripening, I'm going to get some housework done. Okay. So let's double check temperature. Perfect. Okay. So it's going to add our rennet. And I just use animal rennet, and this is diluted in water. And we'll slowly, very gently whisk that in. Okay, now this is going to sit covered for 40 minutes while we let the rennet set up, and then we'll see if we did it right. And while that is setting up, I have some seeds that I need to get started, so let's go do that. Just a couple, some of my oregano, porridge, lemongrass, and calendula. That's all I have to start right now. I'm getting down to the tail end, so not a whole lot to keep going. start my seeds in the window on a heat mat, and then when they start to come up, they get moved over here. So hopefully in the next little bit, they'll start doing their thing. Okay, time is up. Go ahead and, so we are looking for a clean break. So that is pretty darn clean. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut this. Okay, now that the curds are cut, we're gonna go ahead and let them rest for about 5 to 8 minutes. Okay, so now we are going to put these down for about 30, 35, 40 minutes. And we want the temperature at 102. So I'm going to turn the heat back on just to low, warm up our water bath, and then we'll put the lid on and we'll just stir it every couple minutes. And then when it gets to 102, we will move on. Okay, we have more than hit 102, so I'm going to take it out of the water bath and so that it will cool down to 102, and then we're going to just keep doing the same thing. We're going to stir it and let it sit for 30 minutes. So I am not an expert at making cheese. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy eating it. And so I have milk that I need to use up, and this is a really easy way to use it up, at least for me. It is time consuming. It takes about 4 to 6 hours, depending on how quickly it heats up, but the end product is definitely worth it. All right, so now what we are looking for is to take some of these curds, and we want to squeeze them, and then to see if they will separate again. So these are exactly the consistency we want. Now we're going to let them rest for 15 minutes. We're going to drain off the whey and then cook the curds over the whey so that they melt into a slab. Okay, so while I'm waiting for the curds to settle, I went ahead and just lined my colander with some cheesecloth, folded it over on itself a couple times because this is it's not the kind I like, but it's what I got. So this one has pretty big holes in it. It works fine for when I'm draining off the whey. I don't like it when I'm straining the milk. I prefer to use a tighter weave on those because it catches more. This tends to just let all the crud go through. So I just use this version for when I'm taking the whey out, because the curds don't go through here. It's fine for that. But and then I also emptied the water out of the water bath, and that's what the whey will go into. So those are settling for about 15 minutes. Looks like they got about 5 more minutes left. And then we will go ahead and strain them. Put the curds in here, strain the whey out into the bigger pot, and then we'll cook the curds over the whey. Okay, so I drained most of the whey directly into the pot, and then now I'm going to scoop the rest of the curds and put them into my basket. So I use these clips to keep this from falling in. Okay, so that is going to drain, and it's going to take about, probably somewhere from, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. Could be less, could be more. I usually let it sit at least for 10 minutes. If it's still draining a bunch, I'll let it sit longer. But you're just basically waiting for the curds to finish draining, or the whey to finish draining out of the curds. And then we will move to the next step. So everything I'm using is stainless steel, except for my water bath pot, because no actual food goes in there. So this is stainless steel. This is stainless steel. My whisk is stainless steel. Even my colander is stainless steel. So just trying to keep everything as best as I possibly can. Okay, so here's where things get tricky for me. I cannot use my big stock pot because it doesn't have a lid, and I need a lid to be able to cook the curds. So I have to go back to my smaller pot. However, my colander does not fit in my smaller pot. So I have to use my old stainless steel colander that has issues. It has no handle on this side. So we need to have a fork that holds it. And then it just very carefully sits in place. Now we want the whey back up to about 102 degrees. Not quite there. So turn that on low. We'll wait for it to warm up, and then we will get our curds in. Oh, okay, we are there. Let's turn the heat off and put our curds in. All right, we've got the curds in the colander, and we're going to put the lid on, and these are going to cook for 15 minutes, and then we're going to flip them, cook them for 15 minutes, flip them again, 15 minutes, flip them again, 15 minutes. And then they should be done. Okay, so now that our curds have formed a slab, we're going to cut them. All right, we're just going to go ahead and cut this into slabs. Take those, and then we're going to take those have them cut into, I just do them into cubes. I don't get really fancy. Some people like them smaller, some people like them bigger. This is just what works for us. So, or at least for me. I think my husband would prefer them if I cut them smaller, but. Okay, so these need to air dry for about 24 hours. And the recipe I use says to salt them after the 24 hours. I prefer it to do it before it dries. That way the salt really sticks. And then I season it as well, just depending on what I'm doing. So I think I'm going to take half of this and just leave it plain, and then we're going to take half of it and season it. So I found you can't really over salt it at this point because it will absorb that. This will also help expel more of the whey. And quite honestly, it's perfect just the way it is. All right, this is going to sit overnight to finish expelling whatever whey is left, absorb the salt, and I will bring you back tomorrow to show you the end result. It is the next day, and that's what our cheese curds are looking like. See, they have firmed up quite a bit from last night. I'm going to let them dry for a couple more hours, and then we'll go ahead and put flavoring on them. I am going to leave some of them plain, and then some of them I'm going to use, it's called Idaho Mountain Blend. It's a spice we got from one of the local companies. It has onion, green pepper, garlic, black pepper, dried tomatoes, dried herbs, lemon, turmeric. So it's got lots of good stuff, and it makes these flavored really well. So we'll put that on half of these, and then like I said, the other half we'll just go ahead and leave plain. So when we get up here for lunch today, we will go ahead and finish those. All right, so curds are ready, and we're just going to put about that much. And then go ahead and just mix it all together. Basically just put in whatever flavoring you like. That's better. Until it's to your taste. Plain on that side, and the Mountain Blend on that side. And that's really all there is to it. It's not super, so it is fairly simple. It just is time consuming.
That's the word you're looking for.
There you go. So, but yeah, now we have cheese curds for the week, and we'll make some more next week. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.